Alright guys, the final ever season of Game of Thrones is currently airing, and I don't know about you, but I'm counting down the days until Sunday evening rolls around on a weekly basis, which is all the time really. But on this particular fateful year of 2019, 6 of those Sundays are showing us the final ever episodes of one of the most incredible TV series ever created, based upon one of the greatest ever fictional fantasy series created, A Song of Ice and Fire. And just like pretty much everybody else on this planet, we're going to dive deep into Planetos, spin some hypothetical werewood magic, and peek our greenseer heads way up north to the lands of always winter and try and figure out what the hell is going on up there. Hello internet, what's going on? And once again, welcome back to the most inquisitive channel on YouTube, Life's Biggest Questions. As per usual, I'll be your disembodied floating voice Jack Finch, as today we curiously ask the question, what if the Night King was real? For the curious amongst you, that clip was of course from Season 5 Episode 8 of Game of Thrones, aptly titled Hardhome, where the Night King himself first demonstrated en masse his propensity in resurrecting the dead, and wildlings, thens, common folk and even giants alike joined the ranks of the White Walkers' White Army, much to the dismay of a particularly perturbed looking Jon Snow. But it leads us to an interesting opening notion, because you might be thinking, yeah, if the Night King was real, he'd just be really icy and really menacing looking, and he'd raise an army of the dead and destroy the damn planet. Big deal. But whilst you're predominantly correct, there's also a little bit more to it, and we're talking everyone's favourite subject, anthropology. Now, it's also important to note that we're going to be using information from both the books and the TV show, because if some of you haven't already noticed, the series has already quickly overtaken the books, and in actual fact we'd pretty much know nothing about the Night King and his merry band of frosty friends if we were only using A Song of Ice and Fire as our source material, because our buddy George R.R. Martin likes to keep things mysterious, to say the least. Although in the series the Night King is very much a fully fleshed out character, albeit one that stares ominously, has zero dialogue and flies around on an ice dragon, in the books he is merely a whisper of a legend, a cautionary tale told to sweet summer children about the dangers of falling madly in love with magic ice ladies. According to legend, the Night King lived during the Age of Heroes, when magic was much more prevalent and the first men were happily living alongside the children of the forest after a long and bloody feud. The Night King was a fearless warrior who was named the 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, unlucky for some, but soon after he fell in love with a woman with skin as white as the moon and eyes like blue stars. Interesting. To cut a long story short, he married her at the cost of his soul, moved out to a keep on the far reaches of the wall known as the Night Fort, where he did some really bad stuff like sacrificing his men to the mysterious others, aka the White Walkers. Also interesting, where have we seen that before? Well, it took an entire army to tear him down before a legendary Stark of Winterfell, Brandon the Breaker, teamed up with Euramon, the then king beyond the wall, and put an end to the Night King's frozen reign. But that was thousands of years ago, wasn't it? The Age of Heroes was a time of pure legend, where just like with other oral traditions across our planet, several liberties were taken, to say the least. So how can the Night King have been killed by Bran the Breaker and Euramon thousands of years before, and then be staring down Jon Snow at Hardhome thousands of years later? Well, that's because as far as we know, the White Walkers are created, and if they're created, then hypothetically speaking, anyone can take up the mantle of the Night King. And that's also where we get all hypothetical anthropology on this particular question, and state that if the Night King is real, then lurking somewhere deep within the frozen core of our planet, the Arctic, is a race of highly advanced ice-cold killers. That's never good. And what's even worse, they were created by our ancestors. What the hell? Yeah, let me explain. In actual fact, the physiology of the races of Planetos are glaringly similar to our own ancient ancestors. Excuse the pun, but we can draw stark comparisons between the biological trees of our own species with that of Martin's fictional ones. The children of the forest could be similar to the Denisovans or Homo forensis, and the giants of old could be direct parallels to an enlarged version of Neanderthals. And of course, our species, Homo sapiens, are the Andals, the Bravosi, the Dothraki. Yeah, you get the picture. That one's pretty simple, right? But in this hypothetical situation, just how like the Children of the Forest created the White Walkers as some form of weapon of warfare by using the magical properties of dragonglass, their real-world counterparts, the Denisovans or Homo florenzians, did the exact same thing to our ancient Homo sapien ancestors. And just as the timeline of the others and the Night King dictates, they've been slumbering on our planet for 8,000 years, hidden deep beneath the ice in the lands of always winter, aka the Arctic Circle, waiting for their time to emerge in the age of the Long Night. In 2019. Talk about bad timing, as if we haven't already got enough on our plate. And what's even worse is that they're looking for someone to lead them, because in our hypothetical Long Night, the Night King is yet to be chosen. Now bear with me here, because we're purely crossing into the canon of the TV series now, as George R.R. Martin has been pretty stum about the mysterious motivations of the others. But in our scenario, the White Walkers are descending upon our planet with the intention of claiming their new leader. Who would it be? What title would they hold? I mean, let's not beat about the bush. Our planet isn't exactly filled with as many noble leaders and brave warriors as Planetos is, and I'm kind of thinking their list would be pretty small actually. Maybe Keanu Reeves. He'd be a great candidate for anyone. But the one thing we do know is that our civilization would definitely be able to put up a fight. Forget about dragons, because we've got fleets upon fleets of supersonic jets spitting napalm. In fact, our planet's terrifying propensity to fuel military might would probably be our saving grace when faced against an empire of White Walkers. But we are forgetting one thing: the dead. Not only would we be facing down an invasion from a mystical army of frozen beings with no idea on the scale of their technology, we'd also have a zombie apocalypse on our hands. And as we know from cinema and fiction, those things never end well. Granted, if we were prepared enough, we'd more than likely win. We'd just bombard the Arctic Circle with a bunch of Oh yeah, crap, we can't do that, can we? Nuking the Arctic would probably be the stupidest thing that mankind has ever done in the history of anything, given the fact that it's already melting and it's, you know, a magnetic pole. No, we'd have to be smarter than that. Plus, if what they say about the White Walkers is true, and that wherever they tread they bring the frozen cold with them, we can only imagine that the further south they marched, the more that our planet would be submerged in a frozen wasteland, a mini ice age. And I don't know about you, but our planet isn't exactly fit for combating any kind of climate change at the moment, never mind one brought on by a mythical race of ice beings. Yeah, our options are looking pretty bleak. Actually, it'd probably be best to let them take their new Night King, and hopefully after the frozen apocalypse there'll be enough survivors left for us to repopulate the planet. Well, in that case, any volunteers? Seriously, I'm not kidding guys, let me know who you'd think would be the best candidate for the Night King down in the comments section below. Yeah, actually, I've got quite a few in mind, but I'm not sure whether they'd take them. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. Before we depart, if you'd like to continue on with this hypothetical fictional questioning binge, make sure to check out our numerous playlists neatly categorized for your viewing enjoyment. Anyway guys, unfortunately that's all we've got time for in today's video. Just stick around all the way until the end. If you were a fan of this video or just Life's Biggest Questions in general, then please be a dear and hit that thumbs up button, as well as that subscribe button. I'll be seeing you in the next one. As per usual, I've been your disembodied floating voice, Jack Finch. You've been watching Life's Biggest Questions, and until next time, you take it easy.